shocking admission about the state of his marriage to Michelle. So everybody's wondering, like, you weren't there at Jimmy Carter funeral, you weren't there at Trump, and Michelle I'm talking about. I was in deep deficit with my wife. He told Tepper. So I've been trying to dig myself out of that hole by doing occasionally fun things.
At Jimmy Carter's funeral certainly raised some eyebrows, but yesterday's announcement that she won't be attending Trump's inauguration confirms something is definitely going on between her and Barack. She said whispers about cracks in their relationship have been circulating in D.C. for over a year now, but this feels like the first public proof of a marriage on the rocks. The question now isn't if, but when. If I had to guess, they will wait until after the inauguration to announce it. Timing, is everything. And yet the story doesn't end there. For months, I've heard Jennifer Aniston's name tied to Barack. More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship.
Barack Obama didn't expect this. On live TV, Megyn Kelly and Patrick Bet-David dropped a truth bomb so massive, it cracked the carefully curated image he's been selling the world for years.
I think what pulls it all together is that no one person did any of that.
So he's sitting around on a June Thursday thinking about himself and his glory days. And to your point, Smug, I'm starting to warm up to Michelle Obama's POV. I mean, what does he do?
Polish and a promise of change. But as Megyn and Patrick peeled back the glossy exterior, they revealed something darker. A legacy of manipulation, broken promises, and silent betrayal. This wasn't just an awkward interview. This was a demolition job. Live, raw, and unfiltered. Behind the speeches and Spotify playlists lies a story America wasn't supposed to hear. A story carefully hidden by elite media circles, political allies, and billionaire donors who invested heavily in Obama's image. But when truth hits the airwaves, even the most polished brand starts to crack.
Shocking admission about the state of his marriage to Michelle. Go a little bit low, Rob, if you could. So everybody's wondering, like, you weren't there at Jimmy Carter funeral, you weren't there at Trump, and Michelle I'm talking about, and then you start a podcast with your brother. Barack Obama made shocking 170 Michelle Obama. I was in deep deficit with my wife. He told Tepper, conversation Thursday. So I've been trying to dig myself out of that hole by doing occasionally fun things.
It all started with a crack in the facade. Barack Obama's own admission that his marriage with Michelle was in deep trouble. I was in a deep deficit with my wife, he said almost casually, like he was talking about a bad quarter in the stock market. That wasn't just a throwaway line. That was the former president exposing the rot beneath the fairy tale. And Megyn didn't let it slide. She went in, pulling apart the image of the perfect Obama couple, the one sold to Americans as aspirational. Turns out it was all marketing, and the cracks weren't new. They were just finally visible. In fact, for years, insiders hinted at tension, at separate schedules, at awkward public appearances that felt more choreographed than candid. What the world saw was two smiles, but behind closed doors, cold silences, separate vacations, and a growing emotional distance. And now that Obama's own words confirm it, the house of cards collapses. Their relationship became more of a political alliance than a marriage, a carefully managed presentation of unity used to sell books, shows, and a woke family image that distracted from deeper issues. And while Michelle publicly praised him, their body language told a different story, one of disconnection and obligation.
How about the women who actually were the victim of repression and violence in Israel? No words for them. Former President Obama, nothing to say about the children being murdered in Israel. So far, I guess he couldn't find time to actually use his little thumbs and tweet something.
But it gets worse. While Israeli women and children were under attack when families were being torn apart by violence, Barack Obama had nothing to say. Not a word, not a tweet, not even a passing comment. Megyn Kelly shredded him for it live. How could a man who claims to care so deeply about human rights go silent when it mattered most? It was more than neglect. It was betrayal. Obama found time to comment on celebrity gossip, on trivial matters, but couldn't spare a second for real suffering. And that silence, it speaks volumes, because silence isn't neutral, it's a choice. A loud, deafening choice. This wasn't just a political oversight, it was a calculated absence, a refusal to speak out that left victims unseen and unheard. Megyn didn't just question his judgment, she questioned his conscience.
Obama's second term, he did none. Obama's first term, I think he did one. And Bush's first and second term, he did none on day one. This guy's come out the gates. One moment he's talking to World Economic Forum. Another second you're looking at him, he's talking to California, chewing out, Bass and Mayor Bass and talking to the folks there. Next minute he's in Vegas talking about no tax on tips. Next minute you're seeing him talking to military folks. Next minute you're seeing him on the media.
Patrick didn't hold back either. He laid it out plain. Obama is the ultimate opportunist. He doesn't lead. He positions, he doesn't serve, he markets. Every speech, every photo op, every move is carefully calculated to build the brand of Obama. Not the man, not the leader, the brand. And America bought it because he knew how to sell it. He sold hope like soda. Slick packaging, catchy slogans, and absolutely no nutritional value. He mastered the art of political performance without substance, and in a world that values style over truth, that was dangerous. He gave America the illusion of change while reinforcing the system. He smiled through scandals, he distracted with charisma, and he always stayed just vague enough to avoid accountability.
I mean, he's crushing it on the tariffs, foreign policy, just got nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. If not Trump, then who? Honestly. Barack Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize after 9 months in office. He had done nothing. He gave a nice speech about Muslims and they gave it to him.
Do you remember when Obama was given the Nobel Peace Prize? 9 months into his presidency. 9. He hadn't ended a war. He hadn't signed a peace treaty. He hadn't done anything but talk. Patrick slammed it as one of the biggest frauds in modern politics. A peace prize for words? That's like giving a Grammy to someone for humming in the shower. It was a prize for potential, not performance. For PR, not progress. And it set the tone for what would follow. A presidency that looked good in pictures, but crumbled under real pressure. It was a moment that revealed the global elite's obsession with style over substance. Obama didn't earn that award. He was given it by a world that confused speeches with solutions, and America paid the price.
At Jimmy Carter's funeral certainly raised some eyebrows, but yesterday's announcement that she won't be attending Trump's inauguration confirms something is definitely going on between her and Barack. She said whispers about cracks in their relationship have been circulating in D.C. for over a year now, but this feels like the first public proof of a marriage on the rocks. The question now isn't if, but when. If I had to guess, they will wait until after the inauguration to announce it. Timing, is everything. And yet the story doesn't end there. For months, I've heard Jennifer Aniston's name tied to Barack.
And then came the marriage rumors. Not just the tension with Michelle, but whispers about Jennifer Aniston. Megyn didn't just hint, she named. The idea that Barack Obama, the poster boy of monogamy and moral virtue, could be entangled in something like that, it shattered illusions, and it wasn't a baseless tabloid headline. There were sightings, dinner conversations, mysterious overlaps, the kind of smoke that usually leads to fire. The mainstream media ignored it, but Megyn didn't. She dragged it into the light. Obama's team tried to scrub the internet, tried to control the narrative, but the truth kept leaking, and every leak chipped away at the image he worked so hard to protect.
Of course, I wouldn't look at Obama one way or another. I would simply say, I get it. It's tough. Good, God bless. And don't forget, they were young presidents. They weren't old presidents. Yes. So it's a difference when you're a young president. When you're a young president getting out and you're a star power, like Netflix showing everywhere he goes and da-da-da-da-da, it's a different kind of a life.
Patrick tried to be fair, really. He said he understands the temptation, the Netflix deals, the private jets, the speaking gigs worth more than most Americans make in a year. But when you sign up to serve the people, you're supposed to stay until the job's done. Obama cashed out early. He didn't retire. He rebranded. He traded the Oval Office for a boardroom, exchanged duty for deals. His image was no longer about leading the country. It became a product line, a franchise, Obama incorporated every podcast, every streaming deal, every exclusive interview. It wasn't about legacy. It was about leverage, about staying relevant, staying wealthy, and staying worshipped.
More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, the basketball team, the Clippers, thank you, game without her. And then on Tuesday, he was spotted eating out at a fancy dinner in Sherman Oaks with both daughters, Malia and Sasha, but again, no Michelle.
And then more cracks in the marriage, Valentine's Day, posts that looked staged, public outings alone, dinners without Michelle. The evidence isn't just rumor, it's receipts, it's sightings, and it's patterns. Patterns that point to a couple no longer living in unity, but in damage control. Sources close to the couple noted how often they spend time apart, how press events seem colder, less authentic, and the longer it goes on, the clearer it becomes. The image of the Obama marriage was a political tool, one now falling apart. Utility.
Tom, what is the process of Nobel Prize? If he's able to do that, who nominates? Because most of the Nobel winners are on the left.
Nobel Prizes, you can go look this up, are given through an arcane nomination process, and they go into a back room and they decide who they're going to give it to. And the Nobel Peace Prize is basically a political football. You look around the world at people that have really caused peace, and you have Obama made a couple speeches as soon as he was inaugurated in 2009. Oh my goodness, we'd give it to for fostering an environment of peace. He didn't do anything. He didn't.
Yet, through it all, Obama clings to his Nobel Prize like it proves something. But what exactly did he earn? Patrick asked it straight. What did he do? Give a speech, flash a smile. It was one of the most hollow moments in American political history. A trophy for optics, not for action. The man who was supposed to reshape global diplomacy delivered slogans and sound bites. Real progress? It was outsourced, delegated, or forgotten. The Nobel Committee saw a dream. But America got a mirage, and today that trophy is a symbol, not of peace, but of performance.
Music.
How much is enough money, according to the Obamas? 70 million? Because public reports estimate that is their net worth. Parlayed on the back of Barack Obama's 14 years of holding political office. He did not spend 50 years in government service. He did a stint in the Illinois State Senate. He did a couple years in the U.S. Senate before he ran for office and won. All right, then he did 2 terms as president. And off of that, he's made himself over $100 million. Almost $100 million, probably over, to be honest. We don't know all of the earnings.
And economic.
Megyn dug even deeper. She pulled up the financials. Obama didn't just leave office with prestige, he left with a fortune. Reports say he's worth over $100 million. From what, 14 years in office? That kind of math doesn't add up for regular Americans. Public service doesn't make you a millionaire, but Brand Obama did. And let's be clear, this wasn't just speeches and book deals. It was insider access. It was Hollywood production contracts. It was elite investments and doors opened only to the political chosen. He left office and entered an exclusive club, one that pretends to be progressive while hoarding power.
They own 4 luxury properties. A home in Martha's Vineyard, estimated to be worth some $20 million bucks. In addition to properties in Washington, D.C., reportedly bought for $8.1 million, a beachfront home in Hawaii, reportedly bought for $8.7 million, and a home bought in Chicago for $1.65 million. Is that more than you need, Mr. Obama?
She listed the houses. Martha's Vineyard, $20 million. DC Mansion, $8 million. Hawaii beachfront, $8.7 million. Chicago Estate, $1.6 million. 4 homes. While preaching about climate change and wealth inequality, what happened to leading by example? What happened to sacrifice? What happened to living for the people, not off the people? Obama's lifestyle now mirrors the very elite he once campaigned against. Private security, beachfront compounds, yacht vacations, and while working families struggle with rent, Obama is deciding which coastal mansion to spend the summer in. The optics are stunning. A man who ran on hope and change now sipping cocktails on private beaches while Americans drown in inflation? fear and frustration.
A new movie comes out. What's the name of that movie? Civil War. Leave the world behind. Our power grid in America hasn't been updated. 75% of it hasn't been updated in 50 years. And you're kind of talking about that. Then you're pitting whites against blacks. There's a line in the movie that says, Dad, you know if something goes down, we can't trust these white people. I know that's something both you and Mom agree on. Why do you put that line in the movie, Barack? And you were helping with the script. Why would you put that in the movie? Why would you put that in the movie? Barack, weren't you the same guy that gave a talk at the DNC in 2004 about bringing people together? What happened to that guy?
Then Patrick brought out the film, the script Obama helped write, and the line that changed everything. If something goes down, we can't trust these white people. That line, that message, and Barack Obama was involved in shaping it. This from the man who once stood at the DNC and said, "We are not a red America or a blue America. We are the United States of America." Where did that Obama go? And what replaced him was a content creator willing to stir division for screen time. The same man who once symbolized unity was now fueling tribalism from the writer's chair. The betrayal isn't just political, it's cultural, it's personal. He took America's racial wounds and turned them into marketing points. Instead of healing, he branded the pain. Instead of bridging divides, he drew sharp cinematic lines. And now his fingerprints are on a script that could tear communities apart.
To seize this moment, we have to use technology to open up our democracy. It's no coincidence that one of the most secretive administrations in our history has favored special interests and pursued policies that could not stand up to the sunlight. As president, I'm going to change that. We will put government data online in universally accessible formats. I'll let citizens track federal grants, contracts, earmarks, and lobbying contracts.
And let's not forget his promise of transparency. He said he'd make government data public, expose corruption, let the people track every dime. Instead, he ran one of the most secretive administrations in history. Tight-lipped, closed doors, full control. The sunlight he promised never came. Whistleblowers were punished, reporters were blocked, FOIA requests were buried. The same man who called for open government ended up presiding over digital darkness. The promise of progress turned into an echo chamber of excuses. He promised citizens the tools to hold their government accountable, but all they got was smoke and mirrors. And as surveillance expanded and censorship increased, the light he promised was replaced by a long, creeping shadow.
You just said with the right initiative, and unfortunately, that initiative hasn't been forthcoming. And as a consequence, what's happening is, here's what's happening to ordinary families, because I know one of those boxes was, how does this affect you? The average family has seen their premiums double in the last 9 years. Costs for families are going up 3 times faster than wages. So if you're happy with your health care right now, and many people are happy with their health care right now, the problem is 10 years from now, you're not going to be happy because it's going to cost twice as much or 3 times as much as it.
In the end, Barack Obama was the most charming salesman the political world has ever seen. He sold hope like it was bottled water. He sold change like it was merch. He ran a presidency like a tech launch, sleek, pretty, expensive, but underneath it was the same old machine, the same insiders, the same lobbyists, the same broken promises. Megyn and Patrick didn't just critique Obama, they exposed the truth. They stripped away the illusion. And what's left? A man who smiled while the swamp got deeper, who promised reform but delivered reruns, who left office richer, quieter, and more protected than any president in modern history. He didn't change the game, he just gave it better lighting. And now, thanks to Megyn Kelly and Patrick Bet-David, the lights are finally on. And the truth, it's not pretty. This isn't just a political takedown, it's a reckoning. And Obama, he's got nowhere left to hide.